India is handicapped because we don't have any technology. And this is the age of technology. This is the age where we should have used our lakhs and crores of brilliant engineers to do our own technology. We don't have our own technology. We are really in trouble because we don't have sovereignty. We don't have our Swaraj. We don't have technological Swaraj. And if you don't have technological Swaraj, you may lose your political Swaraj. What is the excuse for a Reliance or a Tata's or any of those guys, Infosys, for failing to develop Indian technology for the last 2-3 decades when they had the money to do it, they had the manpower to do it, they had the know-how to do it, okay? And they were selling it, they were renting Indian brains. So I've coined the term that applies to India, sovereignty as a subscription. India's sovereignty, we are subscribing to our sovereignty. किसी ने हमको किराए पर sovereignty दे दी है कि चलो ठीक है आप sovereign बन जाओ, किराया दे ही जाओ, or you'll be okay. I've raised this with government people. Why aren't you holding the Indian industrialists accountable for lack of R&D, for lack of indigenization? Why aren't you having tax policies? Why aren't you having all kind of financial incentives such that this imported business is not... You see, China, 15 years ago, they banned Facebook and all kind of Amazon and Google. I mean, they wanted to build their own. Namaste. It's 2 a.m. here in Princeton, where I live, but I'm honored and delighted to be here to speak with you. When I think of Indraprastha, I think of Mahabharata. I think of the messages of pragmatism, realism. I think of that. I want to bring that spirit of Indraprastha before you and provoke you in that way. It's easy to sort of, our people have gotten into a kind of escapism, and I want to bring you back to the ground reality of what we face today, which the spirit of Indraprastha should provoke you to do, should encourage you to do. So I want to bring that to your attention. And I want to also suggest that perhaps India has been chasing the wrong goals. India today is perhaps chasing the wrong goals, and I'll explain what I mean by that. But keep the message of Indraprastha and Mahabharata in mind as I speak. One of the things that I feel happy I did over the last 40 years of my Infinity Foundation work and my scholarship was focus on Indian grand narrative, Indian knowledge systems, culture, soft power, etc. But I think that should not lead us away from being pragmatic, realistic, understanding the Kurukshetra, understanding what we are dealing with. And there's a harsh reality. We should not use the emotional side of our culture to escape away from the harsh realities. We have to face those, otherwise we won't live. I want to propose first that soft power by itself is useless if you don't have hard power. I mean, look at Tibet. They have all the soft power, morality, good morality, lot of culture, philosophy, etc., but they don't have any hard power, and see what happened to them. And if you look at history, you will find the same message over and over again, that people with hard power are the people who get to dominate, control, and so on. So we are at the crossroads of a similar challenge one more time in our history. Just yesterday, I was in a debate or discussion with one of the leading diplomats, a person whom I regard very highly. And his remark and question is what I first want to answer. He said, is Indian civilization compatible with hard power? He said that. He said, okay, fine, we need hard power. We need hard power for India's sovereignty. But, you know, a dilemma is that isn't our civilization very different? So I want to answer that because I didn't have time yesterday. So Kshatriyata is all about hard power. And if you know the Mahabharata, that is all about Kshatriyata. And that is what Indraprastha is all about. So you cannot dismiss the importance of Kshatriyata and the importance of hard power and only chase the soft power. The Varna system is a very good illustration of what I'm saying. The Brahmins represented soft power, knowledge, philosophy, music, dance, all of those great things, teaching, education, the best in the world. And the Kshatriya represented hard power. Without one, you cannot have the other is incomplete. So this is a very important point. In fact, Shashi Tharoor, I don't want to divert too much, but in his whole critique of Hinduism, of Hindutva, is that he dismisses the hard power side, and writes in his book Why I'm a Hindu. He talks about his Hindu being in bhakti and in philosophy and in texts, and he hates the people who are Hindutva because they are exerting hard power. And I have challenged him to many debates and he hasn't accepted. If any of you can organize one with him and he agrees to come, I'll be very grateful. Because I have told him what my position is, that if you dismiss hard power, you've dismissed the Itihas, you've dismissed Ramchandra, you've dismissed Shri Krishna, because they came precisely with the message of hard power and the importance of hard power as part of our civilization. So it is not incompatible, it is actually necessary. You have to get out of your cocoon and do something. And that's what the hard power message is all about. That I was talking about the military industrial complex. That is what hard power is. And we need a strong military industrial complex in order to have sovereignty. And he said, but how is military industrial complex fitting into our civilization? Well, just translate it as Kshatriya-Vaishya complex. The Kshatriya is the hard power part, the physical hard power part, and intellectual hard power part, and the Vaishya is the financial, economic, industrial hard power. So the military industrial complex is just a modern term for the Kshatriya Vaishya unity and complex. So I'm going to talk about that. First, I want to start with history. What does history tell us about this? What has happened already that we have forgotten? Well, the Industrial Revolution in Europe was started with technology, the electrification of factories. And this electrification of factories as the new technology changed the world order. Britain and France became the industrial powers who had this. Other people didn't have it. And they colonized the rest of the world. And we were victims of that. The East India Company took over using this technology from England to its advantage. And first, they took over the Vaishya, the traders, the shipping people, the people who were international traders. India had the great, sea-borne trading people all over for centuries, and the British took over that. And then they took over the manufacturing in India and migrated it to England. The whole steel and the textile went to England from India. And then after they mastered the Vaishya, then they took over the Kshatriya. They became the rulers, one after another, Madras, Bengal, etc. And then finally they took over the Brahmin, the knowledge from Macaulay onwards. But until then, they left that alone and just kept chipping away little by little. And India became a land of Shudras because the whole Kshatriya social capital, Brahmin social capital, Vaishya social capital, and I use these terms not as caste by birth, not at all, but as social capital that society has, four kinds of social capital. These moved to Britain, and India became Shudras, the land of Shudras. Now, this is not an easy thing for our people to grasp and come to terms with, especially since I believe we are going through this again. We are going to fall into the same trap one more time. And this is the thrust of my message today. And I want you to reflect on it. I want you to challenge me. I want you to confront me, question me, and I'm ready for that. Now, if you look at today's revolution, industrial revolution, like the previous one was electrification, the discovery of electricity and all the technology that could be based on it. Today's equivalent is AI. And by AI, I mean not just AI itself, but I mean, all the models and the semiconductors, the special materials, the small nukes that are nuclear reactors as energy for these centers. I'm including the quantum computing. I'm including the robotic soldiers that are coming out, the robotic submarines, including the space warfare, the jet engines, new kinds of jet engines, the rare earth. All of that I'm including as sort of AI powered new revolution, the new industrial revolution. And the kind of investment required is not just $1 billion here or there, but tens of billions and hundreds of billions every year. That is a scale on which this is going, and India is nowhere. India is nowhere in that. So this kind of a new industrial complex is becoming the foundation of the military complex. Weapons are made based on this kind of technology and this kind of industry. And only two countries have that, USA and China. The rest are second tier at best. And maybe Russia, Japan, France, a few of them are ahead in that second tier. And India is not even one of the leaders in technology in the second tier. This is the state that we are in. And this is reality that, if you really want to capture the spirit of Indraprastha, you have to capture the spirit of audacity, facing truth, facing toughness, and not running away emotionally. You have to do that. Otherwise, the spirit of Indraprastha is too narrow if all it is basically emotional stuff. The weapons that are being created are not incremental. It's not just a few percentage better performance, but major breakthroughs. This total revolution in weaponry, complete rethinking of what these weapons are. That is what's happening. So what you have is a revolution which is founded on R&D. R&D, and India has got a very low budget for R&D and a very kind of a pathetic output of R&D in terms of intellectual property, in terms of patents. Whatever few patents are filed in India are being filed by American companies. It's their they've hired Indians to file these patents and do the technology work, but they are the owners. वो मालिक हैं और हम उनकी नौकरी कर रहे हैं. So it is very strange. It's like, the British say, okay, we brought railways, India felt very proud. But, the thing is, they've turned the Indians into babus working for them, zamindars working for them. The Vaishyas became zamindars. The political type people, administrators became babus, and the Kshatriyas became soldiers, sepoys working for them. So they managed to harness the Indian labor, Indian mind for their purpose. And this is what's happening again today. The Americans own the think tanks, and they brought the think tanks to India. They have all these big consulting companies. They've hired a whole lot of Indian brilliant people to work for them using their frameworks. And we are very proud of that. We're very proud कि गूगल का हमारा आदमी है. वो ठीक है. That's like saying कि ब्रिटिश लोगों ने एक जमींदार हमारे आदमी को जमींदार बना दिया था. The point is that these people are working for somebody else. They're not working for this country. They're working for another country, foreign country. But we are very proud because it's an Indian face. He can put tilak, he can do some dance, he can talk in the Indian language and all that. We are very emotionally contained and satisfied. Very, very easy, like बच्चों को करते हैं. It's like a childish approach. People not asking hard questions when these guys come to India. They're not asking them tough questions. They're asking them questions that make us feel good. It's almost like you want to feel good and you're bringing out that feel good out of these people rather than putting them on the spot. It's kind of very sad that our intellectuals have become like that. So I feel that we're entering a world where US and China will keep fighting each other like Britain and France were fighting each other in the 1800s and before. They were fighting each other and also taking over the rest of the world as colonies. And this is now US and China fighting each other for share over who owns what colony. Maybe China owns Pakistan and somebody owns something and whatnot. And maybe they all want to carve out India in different. That's the Breaking India scenario, scary scenario that I've been writing about for a long time. And I think that the new technology is actually making it more dangerous. The Breaking India's forces are becoming more dangerous. The US versus China duopoly with AI, race for materials, race for supply chains, race for weapons is intensifying. And as they each wants to keep up with the other and supersede the other and turn other people into their camps, their colonies, US got Israel and China got Iran, and who they're fighting over who gets the Arabs and this kind of thing. The point is, India is handicapped because we don't have any technology. And this is the age of technology. This is the age where we should have used our lakhs and crores of brilliant engineers to do our own technology. We don't have it, our own technology. We are proud of producing so many engineers, but these are not people who are qualified to do engineering. They're not producing engineering output. So the work that we are doing in this new technology is like developing apps on somebody else's platform. Okay. I mean, that's like China has built this Belt and Road, and now they're asking Pakistan to build the gas station and build a hotel and build the things on the road, but the Chinese control the road. The Chinese, so they're controlling the platform, and the colonized country is supposed to add value and do some local things which are good for the local economy. So this Belt and Road equivalent is the American AI, is the operating systems, all the search engines, all the social media, all the platforms that we have assimilated. And we are very proud that we got the largest number of WhatsApp users. I mean, India has become the largest consumer, but not producer. The power lies with the producer, not with the consumer. We are very proud कि हम आपका सामान खरीद कर मौज कर रहे हैं, but आपका सामान है, हमारा सामान नहीं है. You can do like that, turn it off. You can put sanctions. You can not let us use it. All this open source business can go off in a split second. We've seen that. We've seen that recently. That all it requires is a policy change, and we are really in trouble because we don't have sovereignty. We don't have our Swaraj. We don't have technological Swaraj. And if you don't have technological Swaraj, you may lose your political Swaraj. This I'm telling you. So this is the sort of thing that nobody wants to hear, and that's the sort of thing I like to talk about. I've spent my most of my life talking this kind of stuff to the Westerners in their false approach to India. I've been talking them right in the face, the most powerful people, and now I'm having to talk to the Indians, because I think that the Indians need to wake up and understand things that they want to run away from, and they're in denial. They don't want to face all this. So the US platforms are not only technological, but platform of consultants who come and teach how to do consulting, and all these government reports full of quoting sources of American consultants. This is so pathetic. When I wrote my book on AI, the response came, the Tata's chairman had written something. And when I tried to get into a debate, I found that they didn't want to debate because their work was all quoting American consultants, and Booz Allen wrote this and Price Waterhouse wrote that, and they're quoting all those kind of things, which don't make any sense in the Indian context. But by putting those kind of people, putting McKinsey out there, our babus think that we are on solid ground because we can quote these international sources. So this is a very deep inferiority complex that our people have. The reliance on consultants and think tanks, the reliance on Western social media and giving them the data to manipulate us, the reliance on foreign brands, the reliance on foreign lifestyle. I mean, the whole colonization is based on a deep inferiority complex that our people have suffered. So this is the background with which I want to ask the question: how robust is India's sovereignty? I mean, this is a very hard question to ask because people don't want to hear it. We are thinking that we are doing very well, we are superpower, we are part of BRICS, and everybody hugs us. But the question is diplomacy versus technology as the foundation of sovereignty. Please ask this question to yourself. Diplomacy will be only as good as your latest friends. They're willing to hug you, they're willing to do this deal, and it's contingent upon other people liking you. And so if you have built your success based on popularity, it's very fragile. If you built your success based on solid technology, something solid that you're holding these cards in your hands, and you can offer it, not offer it, you have something to negotiate from. India doesn't have that. India really doesn't have. We are beggars. We don't make our own jet engine, for instance. One of the amazing thing that we buy jet engine from here, there, begging, humko source code de do, ye do. Somebody can say, yeah, we'll sell it to you. Then they change their mind and we are stuck. So this is a plight which is very sad because of lack of technology. And this lack of technology is because of lack of R&D. And this lack of R&D is because the Jugaad, industrial policy is a Jugaad. The billionaires want to make quick money. Who would invest tens of billions of dollars like the Chinese did to make technologies which take 5 years, 10 years to mature, and then you are taking over the world? Chinese had that long-term commitment. And Indians are more short term, how to do some jugaad and make a lot of money, and then I can become rich and buy more things, houses and private jets and have a jet set lifestyle. So we glamorize the wrong people. We're glamorizing the people who are showing off and giving us this feel good as a very superficial level, but there's no depth. What is the excuse for a Reliance or a Tata's or in any of those guys, Infosys, for failing to develop Indian technology for the last 2 3 decades when they had the money to do it, they had the manpower to do it, they had the know-how to do it, okay, and they were selling it, they were renting Indian brains, hire an Indian for $10,000 and rent him out for 30 40,000, make a lot of money and feel okay. I'm bringing foreign exchange and this kind of stuff. This is very short-term thinking, wage arbitrage. And when I've criticized it, I've been attacked. I've been personally attacked, viciously attacked in social media by some of the technocrats, some of these billionaires, because they don't want anyone to come and blow the whistle on this. So I feel that India has become a India is lacking innovation, too much of this jugaad, short-sightedness. There is competence. It's not all bad. There are a lot of very competent people, and I could give you 50 examples of successful entrepreneurs and good technology, but they're isolated, a little bit here, a little bit there. It's not cohesive. It's not integrated. We don't have a full supply chain. We don't have an end-to-end, plan, think engineering idea of the nation. Most of the IP is purchased. Most of the IP is purchased. I mean, it might surprise you, but even the internal combustion engine, which is over 100 years old, and India's automobile export is one of the biggest export industries, one of the biggest employment industries in India. Even in that, we have not fully reverse engineered the internal combustion engine. India licenses and buys many of the critical components of the engine from places like Germany, even today. Of course, in space, much of it is procured from elsewhere. Pharmaceutical, the active ingredient to make all the drugs which are Indian, we call them Indian, but the active ingredient is mostly brought from China, even today. So when you look at the and weapons we're buying from 5 different countries. Military can't survive without buying weapons from Russia, France, UK, Israel, US. So what sort of sovereignty is it? Okay, military is great because our soldiers are very tough, nice, good people, but they don't have the Indian weapons. You're always dependent on foreign weapons. So a country whose sovereignty is so fragile and so contingent and dependent on others is not you cannot say that this is a secure sovereignty. So I have coined a term. You know the term SaaS, SaaS, stands for software as a service, which means you don't own the software, you rent it. You rent, Office, or you rent Microsoft Office, or you rent whatever, Adobe. They don't give it to you, you just rent it. So I've coined the term that applies to India, sovereignty as a subscription. इंडिया सॉवरेंटी वे सब्सक्राइबिंग टू आवर सॉवरेंटी. किसी ने हमको किराए पर सॉवरेंटी दे दी है कि चलो ठीक है आप सॉवरेंट बन जाओ, किराया दे ही जाओ और you'll be okay. We'll give you weapons, we'll protect you this way, ये treaty हो जाएगी, ये कर देंगे आपके लिए, वो कर देंगे. So India has a very used diplomacy and used very clever and very intelligent treaties, deals यहाँ वहाँ से to kind of improvise a sovereignty which is very provisional, which is contingent on too many factors, too many other people, their generosity and so on. So this is the first shake-up message of my talk. I don't have too much time for the talk, but I'll give you second message also, two messages. Second message is that the Indian people are emotionally and psychologically very weak. Indian people, the average person just want to feel good. हम मैच हार गए सर, पर क्या है, हम फील गुड कर रहे हैं, वी आर फीलिंग गुड सर, जीरो पर आउट हो गए तो क्या पर है, वी आर डूइंग फाइन. द फील गुड not based on accomplishment, but just as a goal in itself, that we have to feel good no matter what, is kind of a really sad situation that we have. I was a few months ago, I was in Bangalore at Sri Ravi Shankar's ashram for Ayurvedic treatment for several weeks. And, the ex-president Kovind, he visited for treatment or something, and one day he gave a talk to the whole group. And the theme of his talk was that during his presidency, he said he visited 30, 35 countries and he got to know many leaders and they always talked about each other's countries and so on. So when they used to ask him what is great about your country, because everybody want to talk about what's special about their country, he says that what is great about my country is that whether the person is poor, no matter how poor he is, whether he's got electricity in his house, whether he's got job, he's feeling good. He's happy. He's feeling good. So everybody clapped. Wow, kya baat hai? Yeah, we are feeling good. I was so upset. I mean, I wish I had a chance to speak because I would say, कि ये तो, feeling good is not a measure. That's the wrong goal. Feeling how you're feeling is irrelevant. They should be tough. People should be tough. The way Chinese for 3 generations raised 3 generations to become emotionally and psychologically tough. They were told that, listen, you're sacrificing for the future generations. You are not going to feel good. You are going to work hard because we need to do that. Your individual feelings are not important. Your collective nation is more important than individual. Give up the individual joy of all kind of joys in order for the collective good for the long term. So we are more into individual, me feeling good right now, present moment, quick short term, and the Chinese have invested in long term collective success and then feeling good as a result of that. So I feel that my second message is that a huge problem exists, whether it's not Modi's fault, this is a problem that has existed for a long time, that Indians in the modern era, this was not in the age of Mahabharata, it was not in the Vidur Niti, when you talk about the messages of the tough guys in the Mahabharata, Indraprastha is at the center of that. Those are different people. Those are very different people. I mean, they were not into this feel good emotion which one. They were really straight talkers, straight bull, no nonsense. So if you really want to revive the spirit of Indraprastha, please consider that you have to revive this Kshatriyata, this confronting the truth and dealing with adversity, not running away to some feel good place where you can hide from all these problems. That is to me the true spirit of Indraprastha. I want to shake you up because you are very smart people, you're very bright people. On my screen, I'm seeing all the faces. Some people are looking worried, but some people are also, hey, you know what? We are up for the challenge. Indians are exceedingly good people when they are led properly. When they are misled, they're not performing. But it's a question of good leadership. The leadership has to not just give them good news, we're all great, ye wo jeet rahe hain, in order to get votes. That is very jugaad, politics jugaad. To really groom our people, our young, brilliant people who are hardworking and good human beings, we have to teach them strength. We have to teach them to come from strength, to be very intelligent and to deal with the current world as it exists and motivate them. So this is my humble. I've had my innings. I'm 75 plus. I've had 40 years of doing all this kind of work as my seva, as my contribution to society. And I'm now turning over to younger people like Rahul, a lot of young people in the audience. Manogna came from Europe, and Anurag is there, and Rakesh. I mean, I call him a young guy, and Raghavan, and a lot of good people sitting there. Sankrant, and many, many more. I'm very grateful to them because I feel that they will take this forward. And many more of you that I don't know personally who are sitting in the audience, my appeal to you and my message to you is, take a hard look at the state of the country in terms of how resilient or fragile our sovereignty is. And if it's too contingent and dependent on others and their generosity and they like us and they're friendly, because they're friendly, they'll do this for us, but it doesn't belong to us, then I think you should have concern and you guys should do something about it, because I'm very confident when people like you decide to wake up and do something about it, we will win. And thank you very much. Jai Hind. And I'll be happy to take a few questions.
Thank you so much, Rajiv ji. I think the message was loud and clear that Bharata must also be Samarthyavan and Medhavan in order to go powering forth in the future. We have very little time, so we can take one or two questions.
Sir, thank you very much for excellent talk. I am 71 or 72 entered, rejuvenated with your talk, sir. I am impressed by your awakening. Now, it rhymes or resonates with my own thoughts. Number one, I have been studying about AI, being a telecommunication engineer. I have been studying this AI digital ecosystem as a whole supply chain, right from the raw materials to the chips to the blah blah, and finally culminating in the data centers. And they are all resource hungry. Now we see the current geopolitics as running for the resource race. To best of my knowledge, sir, what my college taught me, that Mother Earth is not an infinite resource. We are already overloaded the Mother Earth, sir. And now the war for the energy and rare earth elements is visible and being openly admitted by the powers be. Now, with this...
What is your question, sir?
Question is like this, sir. Now that data centers are coming to India, they will they are digital thirsty, they are electricity guzzlers, they spoil the quality of grid. Recently, I saw an article in the Time by US magazine, People versus AI. पिछले महीने का February 26 का issue है.
I know all that, but up to question.
So now the question is that we are now being damaged with the resources also. We are not talking in our policy that how to protect our resources, sir. We are enamored by Google's. There was a protest in Vizag about this.
No, I understand.
So what is our way out, sir? How can we defend our resources, sir?
Okay.
That is the question, sir.
I understand. I understand the question. I understand. I deal with this issue a lot. So there is a hierarchy of power. There are people who own the AI, and there are others who use the AI. And we are in the second category. We don't own the AI. We don't own the fundamental technologies of AI, but we are a user of AI. So we are being hired to develop applications for India, use cases for India. Consumers are Indian languages. ये हम करेंगे. But the fundamental, deep down technologies are foreign. We have not developed those. So our problem is double. The problems you mentioned are the problems in America and so on, that they are using the AI people are using resources which from the common people, but they are also solving these problems because they are building these nuclear reactors, miniature nuclear reactors, so they don't affect the power grid. The miniature nuclear reactor powers the data center. So these data centers will have their own either solar or nuclear energy and not be a burden on the rest of the grid. India doesn't have miniature nuclear reactors. India doesn't have enough solar grid. So India's energy for the data centers will come from the power grid and cripple the power grid, even sometimes bring it down. So India has a different problem because it is not at the top owning these technologies and able to do these things. India is dependent on the Googles and so on to bring it on their terms. So this is the one problem exists everywhere with dealing with AI, but they also
water
have
problems, sir. Thirst problems, sir.
Yeah.
Mother Earth is not infinite water resource, sir.
Yeah, yes, I understand. So the resources, Earth's, okay, as a philosophical statement, the Earth's resources are going to be gobbled up by the haves versus the have-nots. The AI will create haves and have-nots, like colonization created haves and have-nots.
Yes, sir.
Not only some countries are colonizing other countries, the haves and have-nots, but within a country there'll be haves and have-nots. There'll be the elite who have all this, and the rest of the people who don't have all this. So India, with such a massive population, will have probably the world's largest number of have-nots. The exploited people, India. Okay, but the top tier 1% will live a good life. The AI will be giving them robots, servant, yevo, plana, dimkana. The average person is going to be finished. His job will be taken by these machines and so on. The rich guy will become even richer. So this AI will create a concentration of power, concentration of wealth like it's never been seen before in the world, with the top few percent, 1% or 0.1% becoming richer than ever before. So India will suffer. The average Indian will suffer. And this is a very serious part that I'm glad you raised. It's a very serious part of this new industrial revolution, because it will have a further concentration of power, and people like the average Indian is going to be affected.
My question is, while it's not easy to direct technological investments in a democratic setup like in India, unlike China, somehow countries like the US have managed to do good investments in private-led R&D. What is missing in our system that our industrialists and leadership, they are not actually investing in R&D? You mentioned it, but what is the reason behind it? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Reason is greed, and you can make a lot of money because you see when the public is so huge, you got a huge consumer base. You can sell them anything, they will buy it. In India, all kind of things you can just bring imported stuff. यहाँ वहाँ से assemble it quick, जुगाड़ करके बेच दो, people will buy it. And this is irresponsible. And I've raised this with government people. Why aren't you holding the Indian industrialists accountable for lack of R&D, for lack of indigenization? Why aren't you having tax policies? Why aren't you having all kind of financial incentives such that this imported business is not? You see, China, 15 years ago, they banned Facebook and all kind of Amazon and Google. I mean, they wanted to build their own. उनकी काफी बदनामी हुई थी कि you are against freedom, ये वो planet. They said to hell with you. We will do what's good for us. And Indians went the other way. Indians welcomed all the American stuff, and look at where we are. We are completely a consumer dependent on the producer, which is in a foreign country, and draining our brains also. So look, when the H-1B visa thing happened, when they made all these legal changes, the H-1B rules apply to every country, same, every people. It was not against Indians, the same. It was a universal policy change. It affected Indians, but it did not affect Chinese. The Chinese said, okay, our people will come back. We have more than enough jobs. We don't even need them sitting in America. We'll be very happy. And Indians are very happy कि हमारी जो लोग हैं वो Microsoft में काम करते हैं, Google में काम करते हैं, Amazon में काम करते हैं, Facebook में काम करते हैं, because we don't have our own industrial, we can't absorb these kind of people. So the entire industrial policy of India has been wrong. And I have been talking about this, that this wage arbitrage, that you hire people and rent them at a higher wage and make money. This is totally a shoddy strategy. The government has encouraged it because it brings quick money, and the industrialists are very happy. And I have been a voice against this. I'm a technocrat. I came from the software industry and from the telecom industry. I ran 20 companies of my own before I wound up, sold everything, exit 35 years ago to start my foundation and do work for my civilization, 100% of my time with my own money. Before I did that, I was a technocrat. So I know how that thing works, okay? But our people have not been held accountable by our citizens. You hold up all these people, koi Lakshmi Mittal hai, koi Mahindra hai, koi Tatas hai, koi, Infosys guy, all of these Narayan Murthy, they're considered like gods. But you don't hold them accountable that these people, if you compare with the Chinese equivalent rich people, and the Americans, who are also very rich people, they have invested for their technology, for their country, unlike Indians who have not done that.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
You talked about during the independence, like the caste system, like what the economical caste systems were there, like knowledge caste systems were there, but as the different levels were broken down. But what I say is, like, we had so much of knowledge, ancient knowledge. Let's say we used to think about cosmology. We used to think about quantum mechanics. The question is, like, why the ancient knowledge is not put into, like, NCERT textbooks where, like, people can study those things and get it to, like, new generations.
Very good, very good. I started this whole business about Indian knowledge systems and history of Indian science and technology 25, 30 years ago, long before the government recently started all this. So I understand the whole issue. My project was that we learn the past in order to take it to the future, not learn the past to feel good and have a nostalgia and feel very arrogant and proud and कि हमारे ऋषि ये कर रहे थे. Feeling proud about the ancient greatness is only the starting point. But then you have to take this knowledge forward. You have to apply it for today. Why is it that if we had all these things, we don't have any of this today? Why is it we saying हमारे वो spacecraft थे, हमारे पुष्पक विमान थे, ये वो थे? We don't even have a jet engine today. We are one of the countries, we do not have our own jet engine. हम भिखारी हैं. Why are we technology and science beggars today? Okay, and we have to say that to shake up our government and our industrialists. Why is that so? when we come from a background of such great learning and our brains, our DNA is very strong. I mean, I can tell from the questions, we are very intelligent people. And so why is that so? There is an industrial policy issue, and there's an issue of lack of priorities of our country. We're chasing the wrong goals. We're chasing instant success and glamour and feel good and so on. So I want to close because I think time has run out, but I want to really, really thank you for listening. I think it's a very good audience, and I wish we had a lot more time, but I'll be happy to come back and do more seminars, workshops if there is a demand for that. Thank you. Jai Hind. Namaste.
Surely. Thank you so much, Rajiv ji. Maybe the rest of you can write your questions to him. And thank you deeply for your time, investment, and contribution to the Indraprastha Cultural Festival and our understanding of Indraprastha and Bharat. Thank you so much.